Hello friends, welcome to TestNG Framework Training Session 7. This is Haradhan once again as usual. In these sessions, I will discuss what are the depend on methods and always run attributes available and how we can implement them in the TestNG framework. Thank you all for watching my videos. In case you are enjoying my videos and learning automation testing along with Java, please like and share my videos. Do not forget to subscribe my channel and press the bell icon so that as and when I will upload any new video, you will get notification and you will know like what are the new videos already uploaded for my channel. Do not forget to provide your valuable comment for any input or suggestion. Stay tuned for my next video. What does it mean by depends on method attribute in the TestNG? So dependency is a feature in TestNG that allows a test method to depend on a single or group of test other method. This will help in executing a set of tests to be executed before a test method. Method dependency only works if the depend on method is part of the same class or any inherited base class. So I am giving you a simple example. Suppose you need to purchase something from a site, right? For that, you need to first launch your browsers, then open that particular URL. Then once you need to do the login, right? After that, you need to identify the product and need to add in the cart, and then you need to make the payment, and then you need to log out and need to close the browser, right? So whenever you want to order the payment, order the particular product, right, or make the payment, right? So first you need to open the URL and login should be successful. In case login is not successful, you can't add the product in your cart and make the payment. So for making the payment, right, first condition is that your login should be successful, that method should be successful, and the next is like you need to add the cart. So in case this two method is not passed, right, there is no point to navigating to the third, like making the payment and doing the product order. So here, in case I write 3 or 4 different method, one is for login part, one is for adding the product to the cart, and third one is for making the payment, and fourth one is for log out, right? So third one will be dependent on the first two methods, login and adding the product to the cart. In case this two method is getting failed, so there is no point, right? So that's why I can make dependency of multiple, right, method for any particular method or test case, right? So that's why dependency work in the TestNG or any kind of framework. So suppose here I am giving the example depends on method attribute on test method. Suppose test 1 specify all the test method test 2 and test 3. This dependent method depends on, okay, so test 1 is dependent on test 2 and test 3. It means test 1 will start execution only after all the tests. It depends on executed successfully. In case any of the test cases fail, test 2 or test 3 is failed, so test 1 will be skipped, not be passed or failed, right? It will be skipped. So that is the syntax, right? Depends on methods, and within the second bracket you need to, within the double quote, you need to give the method name. In case the multiple methodism is there, you need to use by comma separated. Okay, so I will give you the examples how the dependency work or depends on methods attribute work in the TestNG. So here I have already created a class. TestNG class depends on methods and always run. Okay, so here once you creating the class, right, by default the test annotation will come and the method will also come. So here I am just changing the method name as method 1. Okay, and here I will create another methods, method 2 and 3. So 3 method I have created. Okay, in the first method I am providing the output is output for method 1 and also for the other two method, right? And output for method 3 and output for method 2. Okay, let's see method 3 is dependent on method 1. Okay, so how you can make the dependency here already, right? You need to use depends on methods. Okay, so here in the test itself under the bracket, if you press depend, right, and you press control and space bars, you can see all the relevant suggestion will come, right? Depends on method. Okay, then you need to give equal to sign and third bracket, equal to sign and sorry second bracket, right? And within the double quote you need to give the method name. Okay, so method name is method 1. Okay, okay, so and you need to close the second bracket. Okay, so you can see no error message is coming. Similar way also, in case I also want to make dependent method 2, right? So method 1 I can also make it, right? So here, right, output will come, and right now there is no such failure, right? You can see only the output is being triggered, and method 2 and method 3 are dependent on method 1. Okay, so there is no such failure. Now if you run the program, you can see all the method will run successfully, everything will be passed status, and the output will come, right? You can see all the method is come green color, and overall also the total duration of the execution time. And if you go to the console details, you can see output for method 1 it is coming, output method 2 it is coming, and output for method 3 is coming, and method 1, method 2 and method 3 all are in pass status, right? And here 3 test cases executed and 3 are in no failures, no skip. Okay, now in the method 1, let's fail the method. Okay, some assert, using some assert dot, right, assert equals boolean value false, and here I am giving true, so that it will get failed, right? Now let's see. So method 1 is right now it's failing, right? It's not matching the expected criteria, right? Assert equal is not matching, so method 1 will get failed. But I already mentioned in my previous session, right, in the assert, that in case, I mean assert is soft assert and hard assert, right? I say here assert is hard assertion. So in case any assertion is getting failed, for hard assertion, it will not execute the remaining step for the method, but the other method will not be create or will not impacted, right? But here I have used the depends on method, right? Which is the dependent on method 1 for method 2 and method 3, which is dependent on method 1. So what will happen? So in case the dependent method is getting failed, the methods, other method which is dependent on the failed method will not be executed. Passed or failed will be just simply skipped. Okay, so let's run the code and let's see whether the method 2 and method 3 which is dependent on method 1, and whereas the method 1 is getting failed, right, assertion is not passed, so method 2 and method 3 will not be executed at all, it will be skipped. Okay, let's run the code and let's see. You can see total number of test case run 3, failure 1, skip 2, right? Okay, so here you can see method 1 is failed and other 2 is skipped, right? Cross sign with the yellow color, it means skipped, right? Okay, and in the output you can see only the right output for method 1 is coming, because it is before that particular assertion steps, and method 1 failed, and rest of the method will not be executed at all, it will be skipped, right? You can see method 3 skipped, method 2 also skipped, because the depends on methods which is getting failed. Okay, now let's remove the part, let's see whether it is method 2 is getting passed or not, because right now method 2 is not dependent on method 1, right? So though method 1 is getting failed, method 2 should pass successfully, and method 3 should be skipped, right? Because it is dependent on method 1. So let's run and let's see. Here you can see total number of run is 3, failure 1, skipped 1, because method 1 is getting failed. You can see method 1 is getting failed, method 2 is successful because method 2 is not dependent for any method, and method 3 is also skipped because method 1 is getting failed and which is dependent for method 3. Okay, fine. Now let's pass the method 1. Okay, in case it is getting passed, assertion is getting passed, so obviously my method 3 also passed, so all the methods should be passed right now. If you run the code, you can see all the method is getting passed, green color, right, and 3 is passed. And if you go to the output sections, you can see the output is coming correctly, right? Output for method 1, 2 and 3, and pass method 1, method 2 and method 3. Okay, now let's method 3 dependent for method 1 and method 2. So how you can dependent add the multiple dependency? You need to use the comma. Right here I already given the example. In case any method you need to depend on multiple methods, you need to use the comma and then method name 2. Okay, now method 1 is getting passed, but I want to fail the method 2. Okay, and let's see what is happening. I want to make method 2 fail because I assertion part whatever I have given, it is not matching, right? So here method 2 is will fail. Okay, but method 1 is getting passed and method 2 is getting failed, and whereas method 3 is dependent on method 1 and 2. So in case any dependent method is getting failed, so the method which is dependent of any of the method will getting skipped, right here. So method will be dependently passed, method 2 will be failed, and method 3 which is dependent on method 1 and 2, though 1 is getting passed, 2 is getting failed, that is the reason method 3 will be skipped. Let's run the code and let's see whether it is getting skipped or not. You can see 1 is skipped, right? Method 3 is getting skipped, right? Method 2 is failed, method 1 is getting passed, right? So that's why you can add multiples depends on methods, right? In one or multiple is possible also. And in case any of the dependent method is getting failed, so the method which is dependent on the others will be skipped, not pass or fail. It will not be executed at all. Here if you pass it, so all the method will be passed, right? Because all the dependent method is getting passed here, no problem is there, no assertion failure is there, so everything will be passed here, right? You can see total number of pass is 3, and here on the all the green colors, right? And also the root folder parent folder is also passed. And if you go to the output sections, I mean console section, output for method 1, method 2 and method 3, right? Pass getting passed. Okay, so first let's comment out this method 2, and right now I want to okay, so here I want to add dependent method on method 1 only. Method 3 I want to make dependent, and right now I want to make it fail. So what happens? Obviously method 3 will not be skipped, right? Here method 1 and method 3 is there. Method 3 will be skipped here, right? Because method 1 is getting failed. You can see. So to handle this thing, there is another attribute came into the pictures, which is like always run. Okay. So in case always run attribute set to true for any test annotation, this test method will always be run even when the dependent methods got failed or skipped. Okay. So that is the syntax, right? I mean always run, you need to use always run. Okay. Always run, you need to set to yes, true. Okay. So here, though it is getting failed, but if you mention comma ALW, press control space bar, you can see always run is coming, and you need to make it true. Okay. So what's happened? Always run means it will be always runs though my dependent method is getting failed or skipped. So what is the real example? So I already given you the real example, right? There are 3 or 4 methods say for the booking part, right? Or ordering part. One is like login, second is like I mean adding the product to the cart, and third is suppose say making the payment, and fourth is suppose the log out, right? But fourth also it will be dependent on the other 3. But obviously you need to log out whether the product is getting payment or adding to the card or not, right? Otherwise next set of test case will not be run and you need to close the browser. So that particular 4 method should be always run whether the dependent method is getting fail or not. You need to log out from the application and you need to close the browser. Otherwise you need to not possible to log in and run other test case. So that is the reason, right? Sometimes for this kind of test steps or test cases you need to make always run equal to true. Okay. So here I already two method 1, here it is getting failed, assertion is getting failed, and method 2, method 3 which is dependent on method 1, right? So it should be skipped because like dependent method is getting failed. But in case you make always run equal to true, so it will be executed though, right? Dependent method is getting failed. So let's run the code and let's see whether the method 3 is getting run and passed successfully, because in the method 3 there is no assertion problem. Okay, so it should be passed successfully. So you can see, right, total number of test cases is 2, failure 1 and skip 0, right? And you can see method 3 is getting passed, though method 1 dependent method is getting failed. But as I mentioned always run equal to 2, so it is running successfully. It will, though it is dependent, but still it will run, and based on that particular step it is giving the pass or fail condition, right? So here method 3 is getting passed and method 1 is getting failed. In the output if you go, right, output for method 1, output for method 2, and passed is method 3 and method 1 is getting failed. Okay, now let's comment out the method 2 as well. Okay, so here I want to make my method 1 pass and my method 2 fail. Okay, so here I can add multiple methods, dependency. So here you can see method 1 is getting passed here because the assertion point is passed. Method 2 is getting failed, and the method 3 is dependent on method 1 and method 2, where method 2 is getting failed. But in case I always run equal to 2 set, always run equal to 2, so method 3 will be passed in case there is no such failure problem in the method 3. Let's run it and let's see. Here method 1 will be passed, method 2 will be failed, and method 3 will be passed status. Though it is dependent on method 1 and method 2, where method 1 is passed status and method 2 will be failed status, right? But it will run always as always run equal to true. Okay, let's run the code and let's see. You can see, right, method 1 and method 3 is getting passed, right, and method 2 is getting failed because the assertion point is getting failed. And total number of 3, test case is 3, run is 3, failure 1. And if you go to the console details level, you can see, right, output for method 1, output for method 2, output method 3, method 1 and 3 pass, method 2 is getting failed. Okay, so that's why in case suppose dependent method is getting failed, but if you want to still execute the particular method or test case, you need to use always run equal to true. Okay, now I will give you this real-time examples how these actually work. Okay, let's declare some variable webdriver for webdriver interface. Let's create some method. Suppose webdriver driver, here you can see some error message is coming. You need to import webdriver interface from the origin.openq.selenium, right? Then here I am changing the method as launch Facebook login page. Okay, so that's method I will create. So here my objective will be I want to launch the Facebook page. So just I am simply copy and pasting to launch the Facebook page, the code, right? I'm setting the properties for the Chrome drivers, and I want to launch the Chrome driver. I want to maximize it, and I want to, right, pass the URL for the Facebook so that it will be opened successfully, right? I need to import the Chrome driver for origin.open.selenium Chrome for the Chrome driver class, and I will create another methods for closing the drivers, right? Test quit browser. Here driver will quit. Okay, so here in the first test case I want to launch the browser, I want to pass the URL for Facebook, okay, and I want to quit the browser. So if you run the code, you can see like It will launch the browsers and it will pass the URL for Facebook. Once the page is fully loaded, it will quit the browser. So two test cases I have written, or at the rate test annotation I have used 2 times, so it will be considered as 2 test case. So I did not use anything for dependency method, right? You can see both the test cases passed status, right? Okay. Now here I want to make the dependent of the test case 1. So how you can make dependent? You press depend, you just enter depend and press control spacebar from your keyboard. You can see all the suggestion will come, right? Just you need to use dependent on methods. Okay, equal to sign, second bracket, and you need to give the method name within the double quote, whatever is dependent. You need to close second bracket. Okay, so right now it is dependent on launch Facebook login page, the quit browser method. Okay, now here there is no such failure in my past test case. So if you run it, you can see your past test case, both the test case will be passed, because there is no such failure in any of the test case. So it will launch the Facebook page. After that it will quit, and all the test case will be passed status. You can see both the test cases are in passed status, right? And if you can see here, right, if you go to the run sections, both the test cases are in passed status, right? And here also you can see pass launch Facebook page, pass quit browser, pass. And if you go to the test output folder, just refresh the page, and if you click on the open the TestNG result XML file, you can see total number of test cases executed to pass to, and both the test cases quit browsers and launch Facebook login page, both are in pass status, right? Here pass status is passed, here also status is passed. With the duration of the total time, you can see for the launch Facebook page it took like 13 second, 3566 millisecond, and for the quit browsers 1 second and 2.287 millisecond, right? And the failed test case, no failed test case. And summary also you can see 2 method count, 1 class, and default test, total duration of the time. Okay, now let's fail the test case 1, which is like launch Facebook browser. Suppose I want to define a string variable. Suppose I want to get the title of the page. How can we get it? Driver dot get title, right? Right. Now using the assert class, I want to validate whether my expected string is matching with the actual string, right? So you need to use the string. You can see that one you can use it. So actual will be my title, whatever is coming, and expected will be definitely that one, right? Login or sign up. But in case I want to make some differentiation which will not match, so I need to give it the double quote. That will be my expectation, right? In case still I give it, it will still pass, because it should match. So both the test case will be passed, because titles, I mean, expectation was Facebook hyphen login page sign up. So in case it is getting matched, so my both the test case will be passed, which is also dependent on the previous test case, right? Launch Facebook login page. You can see it is launching the Facebook page. After that, it will store the title and it will validate with the expected result assert. And in case it is validation is passed, you can see both the test cases getting passed, right? Both the test cases getting passed, and here both are in passed status and green color, and the right tick mark with the green color. Now, if you change it to say 1 1, okay, so obviously that point assertion is getting failed, right? So here what will happen? The next test case will not be executed, it will be skipped. Okay, let's run the code and let's see. First test case will be failed at that point, because the title is not getting matched, and second test case, whatever is dependent on the past test case, it will be skipped. Okay, it will be skipped, not be passed or failed status. So it is trying to launch the Chrome browsers, maximize it. It will pass the URL for the Facebooks. Once the page is fully loaded, it will store the title and it will try to validate to the expected one. And here obviously it will fail. So you can see the closing of the browser is not happening, because title is not matching. So it is not executing the next test case, which is the quit browser, right? And the browser is not getting closed, right? You need to manually close it, and you can see in the expectation in the consoles, failure 1, skip 1, right? And you can see the quit browser is getting skipped, right? And the first test case launch Facebook login page is getting failed. Okay, but I mean, how your intention will be, though your Facebook page is not matching, but you need to close the browser at the end of your execution, right? So similarly, suppose there is 4 or 5 test cases. One is for like opening the page. Second one is for logging into the. I mean, using the provide valid email ID, user password. You need to log into the Facebook page, and you need to do some operation. After that, you need to log out and to close the browser. So obviously, you need to closing browser or anyway you need to perform it, right? Otherwise, browser will be open mode, right? And whenever you will again perform some execution, so again another browser will open. So at the end of your execution you need to close the browser successfully, right? So that step should be executed whatever, I mean, your result is there, disk is getting passed or failed, right? So you need to use always run. Press ALW and then press Ctrl and spacebar. You can see always run is coming and you need to make it true, right? And in case by default you are not making always run equal to true, so by default it will be false, right? So if you run the code, you can see your second test case will be executed, though your first test is getting failed. It is launching the browsers, it is maximizing, it is passing the URL for Facebook, it is trying to tally the URL, and then it will try to execute the second test case because always run has been made as true. So it will not depend whether my previous dependent test cases dependency, whatever test case dependent on the previous one is getting passed or failed. You can see failure is 1, skip 0, right? And launch browser is getting failed because of title is not getting matched. And here, as I mentioned, always run along with the dependency, so it is also getting executed and my test case browser is getting closed, right? And if you go to the console details, you can see like quit browsers fast, and that test case is getting failed with the details, right? You can see the expected one, Facebook login sign up 111, and actually is coming as sign up. Okay, so here if you are not mentioning anything, by default it will be false. Even if you can change it also false. So false means it will not be executed in case the dependent method also getting failed. So it's running, let's see whether it is getting executed or not. So it will be skipped. So in case you are not mentioning, or if you are mentioning as always run equal to false, it's the same way. In case if you want to still execute, you have to mention always run equal to true. So in case dependent method is getting failed, but still it will be executed successfully, and in case there is no error for the particular step, it will be executed. So here you can see its closing is not happening, right? Because I have mentioned that dependent always run equal to false along with the depends on method. You can see it's getting skipped, right? Here in the getting skipped, and that method is getting failed. Okay. So that's why these two attributes, I mean, are very much interlinked, right? Because depends on method, you can make any method to depend on other one or more methods, and in case one of the dependency method is getting failed, so the method which is dependent on the others will be still not be executed, it will be skipped. But in case still if you want to execute that particular method, you have to make always use the always run equal to we need to add another attribute always run equal to true, so that though the dependent method is getting failed due to some assertions or maybe some other issue, still the method which is dependent on the others will be executed, and in case there is no such error is there, it will be getting passed. Okay, so that's the reasons this the two thing is very much depends on methods and the always run attribute. Okay, so that's all for today's session. Thank you.